Hi, I'm Ross and you're watching Natural Aesthetics, the YouTube channel dedicated to true drug-free bodybuilding. In this video, I'm going to showcase some highlights from our leg, chest and back training session. So essentially it's 2 sessions combined. I was only able to train with my client for this particular day, so we had to make the most of it and focus on the exercises that are going to give us the most return. So for legs, it's definitely going to be squats. It's a fantastic exercise. You need to be squatting with higher frequency, in my opinion. For a number of reasons, but mostly because it's such a technical lift. You need to be under the bar and greasing the groove on a regular basis, otherwise it starts to feel uncomfortable. I think most people would see the best return from squatting 2 or 3 times a week in general. So we worked up to a fairly heavy weight today, 3 reps, 150. It's the heaviest I've gone in a few weeks because of this back issue that I had as a consequence of deadlifting. I pulled the right side of my lower back doing deadlifts. Funnily enough, after that, I just recovered from a hip issue. The hip issue was bugging me for quite some time. I did a lot of mobility work and recovery work and band lateral squats to fix that, and then pull my back on the deadlift. So it's been a rough few weeks of squatting, but pleased to say, feeling good now. I've spent a lot of time doing stretching and foam rolling and using the hammer on key areas like lower back, glutes, hip flexors, IT band quads, which is really, really important. I warmed up for about 20 minutes prior to this session, and if you're interested in seeing my full mobility session prior to squats, then leave a comment in the comment section below, and if enough people are interested, then I'll do that video. I think it's something that's really important. For me, if I had, let's say, an hour in the gym, for whatever reason I was in a rush, I would still warm up for 20 minutes and I would do fewer sets of squats, but better sets, quality over quantity for me, definitely. I'd rather do that than kind of rush into it and do subpar sets initially, especially when you first get under the bar. It just feels dreadful if I don't warm up, absolutely dreadful. So the more I do, the better. And you might lose a little bit of strength because of all that warm up, but I'm going to gain more because of the extra mobility. It's going to compensate for that lost strength if there's any at all. So it's very important for me. I'd say if you're a male, generally it's going to be harder to get in position. If you're quite tall, maybe over 6 foot or so, it's going to be harder and harder to get into that position comfortably with good form. I find that females generally have a better time of getting the full squat depth with relative ease because of the hip mobility in general is a lot better. My training partner, who you've seen in prior videos, Johnny's obviously very good at karate, has trained at a very high level, has very, very good mobility and flexibility. So it's not as much of an issue for him. He can squat better with less warm-up. But I think for most people, it's really worth your time to not only warm up prior to the session, but trying to do some flexibility work in and around the training sessions as well. That's helped me not only heal my back, but in general just improve my flexibility so it's more comfortable when I actually come to squatting. Really good session, worked up to 150k, no back issue, no hip issue whatsoever, feeling really good, pleased to be back, squatting comfortably again, pain-free, which is really nice, first time in a long time. So I'm back down to 130 kilos, then 120 and 110, just for a few more sets, a little bit of extra volume. So my training partner's form is a little bit unorthodox. He's got a lot of ankle issues, toe issues, which really hinder mobility and the ability for him to get down to full depth with good form. Back issues as well, just very, very tight in general. So for him, his squat form allows him to continue to squat. It feels comfortable for him, and he benefits from that. Don't try and beat yourself up if your form isn't perfect. It's really not that easy to perform really good squats. It takes a lot of work, and in some cases you might have injuries or physiological problems that prevent you from doing a perfect squat. Just do your best and find something that feels comfortable for you and that you're able to do on a consistent basis. And however the form may look, you'll still benefit from that. So after the squats, we move on to some stiff leg deadlifts. We do 2 warm-ups, both for 8 reps, and then I do 20 reps at 110 kilos, keeping the tension on. Try not to touch the bar to the floor. If I do touch it, it's very, very light, almost just kissing the floor with the plates. This keeps the trajectory very, very tight and nice and smooth, whereas if you hit the floor, sometimes it can throw you off a little bit, especially right to left side. Generally, one side will hit first. It's not always perfectly even, so saying that, you know, you do reduce the range of motion a little bit. You can use a plate to elevate your heels, which I might do in the future, which I've done before. But for now, you know, it feels really good on the hamstrings, just keeping the tension on and the range of motion slightly shorter. So I'm going to stick on that for some time. After that, we moved to the back movements, and we did 2 lat pull down sets. So with this, really concentrate on keeping the chest high, almost pushing the chest out as you bring the bar down. This keeps the tension on the lats. It doesn't let the shoulders roll forwards, which creates a subpar contraction of the back. You really got to stay nice and tight, a strong lumbar arch, and a nice high chest. And it's the same with the low row. So we do, again, 2 sets on the low row after 2 warm-ups. Feels pretty good with the V-bar. The elbow was a little bit niggly. Still suffering from a slight golfer's elbow. Just can't shake it. But it's not stopping me for the most part. Only supinated chins, which are my favourite chins, but can't do those, yeah, because it's just too painful. So with the low row, you can see the angle I'm actually pulling down, but because of the trajectory of the body, you're creating a horizontal pull. And unfortunately, you see a lot of people do this when they're actually on the lat pull down. They lean back so much that they're actually doing a low row. Instead of hitting the lats, they hit more traps and rhomboids, obviously from the horizontal position. So ideally, your lat pull down should be vertical. That's the point of it. And, you know, use your low row to do the horizontal rowing or chest supported row. Don't lean back too much that it defeats the purpose of a vertical pull down. So we finish up with chest work, and again, a little bit of a left niggle in my pec armpit area as a consequence of benching, I think, last week. So we did some pre-exhaustion. Yeah, last week on Tuesday, just felt a little bit of a niggle from the heavy benching. So did some pre-exhaustion last week, and did it again this week. And I did do a video explaining that. I'll put the link in the description box below. Really good technique to use for working around compound movements that are either uncomfortable or you're suffering from some sort of injury or joint pain when you do that compound. So for me, bench press would have really been very uncomfortable for me today had I not done the flies beforehand. So we did about 6 sets on that, ramping up gradually. The peak set, I think, was 6 plates on the cable fly for 20 reps, followed by 10 reps, 90 kilos on the bench. And there was no joint pain whatsoever. Really good pump on the chest. And if I hadn't have done those flies, I'll say once again that the niggle would have taken over and I just wouldn't have enjoyed that press as much, wouldn't have got as much chest pump for sure. So really good technique. Give it a go, guys. Really recommend it. So thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, then please give it a thumbs up. Subscribe to see more true natural bodybuilding videos, information and motivation. Check out my Instagram page. The link is in the description box below. Thank you once again. Stay strong.